Hi, I'm Jay Polaki, and this is the HR Bytes podcast, where HR practitioners share their think globally and act locally digital HR agenda. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the HR Bytes podcast. You can catch us on your favorite podcast channels as well as YouTube. And our guest today is Geri Murphy. Welcome to today's show, Geri. How are you?
Hi, Jay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well today. Thank you. It is a lovely Thursday here in Austin, so I can't complain.
Wonderful. Well, Geri, when you and I met, I didn't know who you were and you didn't know who I was, but I think we've struck a fast friendship and hopefully it'll stick. But you mentioned that you are the first time head of HR, and you're the first HR hire for your organization. Can you share a little bit about that experience? I'm very curious how it's going so far.
Absolutely, yes. I like quite honestly had not gone out looking for that style of opportunity, but when I saw what Temporal was doing, it excited me a ton in their space. And I think like after speaking to our founders and seeing the journey they were on as first-time founders and first-time managers, it just excited me so much that the opportunity to really impact that. And like it has absolutely been a trial by fire. And I've enjoyed every second of it. Like I think been able to take like past experiences and being trusted by the business to actually like make some decisions and design programs and actually be in a place of influence there has been a truly great experience. So it has been definitely hectic at times, definitely scary at times, but I've enjoyed every second of it.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're enjoying it because as we speak, there's a whole revolution that's happening in our workplaces with all of
Mhm.
this whole AI and automation in our HR function. What's your take on how we should be approaching all of this? And how do you think HR leaders can prepare our function for this increased use of AI and automation?
I think the advent of AI has given us in HR a great opportunity to kind of catch up to parts of the business that maybe we've sometimes fallen a little bit behind. Like I feel like with HR functions, we're often the last to be able to advocate for new tech within a company whenever funds are allocated. Thankfully, I haven't found that to be the case in my current organization, but I know that that is the case for many of my peers and partners across our industry. I think AI gives us a chance to really lead the charge in a workplace transformation. So, like if we're not already thinking about how AI is going to impact the job design of those folks that we work with and the teams that we support, we should absolutely be thinking about it in terms of our own workload. So, like I've seen with tools that we have used, AI has started to pop up, like in communication and documentation tools, for example. I've seen like AI enablement start to pop up in different places. And interestingly, there are definitely tools that we use in our HR function that I have been surprised not to see some sort of AI or interest in doing AI. And better AI enabling the product that they put forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing more innovation in that space and hopefully it moving a little quicker. And I think like most HR folks that I'm speaking to are thinking about it like from that kind of two-pronged approach, like from the teams that we support and how do we better like design roles and enable AI to actually help us do our jobs better while not removing that human element from it. And then on our HR teams, like how do we use it to better automate and leverage data and just save us time to spend in the places where we can be more successful.
So you hinted on that human touch, in the midst of all this, I guess it's very important for us to keep that focus on the human as we test, experiment, and adopt all of this new technology. How would you advocate for keeping that human touch in our function in this revolution that we're experiencing in the world of work?
I think this is where it really comes down to what type of role we do in the HR world. Like, we have seen this split over the past couple of years. We've moved away from the days of personnel, where all we did was we were only seen as a less strategic team, less strategic function who processed paperwork and hired and fired people. We've come a long, long way from that. And I feel like this is just the next piece that we take on. And like the split that we've seen in HR in more recent years has been, folks who go down the like maybe people operations or like the operational and data and systems side of things. And then also the advent of like HR business partnership. Who are like providing that like very hands-on approach with, in particular, like managers and our folks on the ground. So I think that it's looking at like where our strengths are as individuals in the HR team. Like there are folks on teams that I've worked with who like love the systems, love to get deep into the systems, and that's where their strength lies, is like in telling a story through data and really making sure that we have automated and built the best things that our organization can use. And then we have like business partners whose strength is more in communication and in employee relations and keeping that human touch. And that's not to say that people operations shouldn't have a human touch. They absolutely should, and they need to have a great empathy for that, and they need to leverage that skill themselves. But I think this is where we get to take a look at like where our strengths lie as HR professionals, and make sure we ourselves have the right person in the right role at the right time.
Well said. And while a lot of the big tech CEOs are predicting that AI will be smarter than us humans, that's a great perspective to keep in mind. What do you foresee for HR in 2024 and beyond? We discussed a lot of goals that we HR folks are bringing up to the table to implement. Should we be setting all of these big, hairy, audacious goals for 2024 and beyond? What are your thoughts around that?
I mean, why not? Like the companies we work for are setting big, hairy, audacious goals. Mine is. And I feel like this is exactly where we need to be. If your people team is disconnected from the business and not aligned from a strategy perspective and from a delivery perspective, we're going to struggle, right? And I think if you have a company that has big, lofty goals, like my current company does, and so many do, our team absolutely should. Like we should dream big just like everyone else should. And like we have, like in our career, we have so many highly intelligent, highly strategic people who now have their seat at the table within the business. So absolutely should have those big, hairy, audacious goals. I think like what I'm hopeful that what I think like we will see like over the next couple of years in particular is what we've recognized in the last few years is that people spend less time in an organization overall. Like tenure is a little bit shorter. Companies have to work that little bit harder to keep people. And I think there's kind of two sides to that. Like companies need to recognize that, their person may be the best person for the company at a specific point in time, but may not be for 10 or 15 years. That what that person wants to get out of their career may not always be aligned like in the long term with what the business wants to do. I think it's companies recognizing that they like bringing in new ideas and like fresh folks is a great thing to do. So I think we'll see more recognition from companies that it's okay if people stay with us for 3, 4, 5 years, and they can be super impactful in that time, and we can support their onward career in whatever they want to do that maybe they just unfortunately can't get with us. And with that, I think we will spend a lot more time making those experiences that they have much more impactful and important. So like we've seen like over the last few years, like this focus on like company culture and like, defining your company culture, developing your company culture, and trying to be quite unique with your company culture, like, that it becomes yours, not just a mirroring of another company's culture. So I think we will see a lot more in that arena around the employee experience and like having impact like right from the first time that they interact with you the whole way through, and having that be consistent. So culture development definitely big. Of course, I mean AI. That's going to be the big thing, as we talked about from both the teams that we're supporting and their jobs, and also like in our HR space ourselves. Like how do we better leverage that? We're going to have great advantages there too. So I'm really excited to see what it does, but it does of course bring up the question of like ethical use of AI, and us being able to kind of back to you asked about that human touch piece. Like even with AI at the moment, like we're looking at AI better enabling, maybe analysis of large data sets and like drawing themes and like things that like maybe as a human might have taken us a much longer time. But I'm not sure that AI is just yet at the point where it can completely replicate exactly what we want. So I think like over the next few years, we will see that more, like as you mentioned, like with the leaders that have talked about this, that we will see AI become something we can rely on a little bit more. But I don't know. I'm not completely convinced that it will get the whole way there. Maybe it will. We'll see.
Oh, it's all in the works. So we'll
All in the works.
we'll find out soon enough. So that being said, there's a lot of worry for our HR function. I keep hearing, from folks whether all of these machines are going to replace us, or, if I used a chat bot, and will I become obsolete, is one of the big questions that I get sometimes in my line of work with HR geckos. And, I really want to learn from practitioners and leaders in terms of that particular thought and that fear around our role. How should we be working with folks who think like that to help them understand what's up ahead and change their mindset in a way that will be helpful to them and to the organization, and help us all better prepare for this whole AI revolution that's happening around us. How would you do that? And, what other challenges are you seeing when it comes to the HR function in general for this year?
I think with the HR function in general, challenges that I foresee would be getting out ahead quickly enough on the job design and how AI is going to impact that for our folks. So that's something that like we're thinking a lot about, like in our team, like at Temporal, we have a very large engineering team, and even our non-engineering teams are very, very highly technical and leverage like a wide range of software engineering skills and technologies on a daily basis. So I think it's always been the case, at least from my personal belief, that you should be a lifelong learner. The day you think you've learned it all, I think we're missing something. But I think with AI in particular and the challenge that it brings, it's just something we're kind of been forced to move a little quicker with. Like my husband is a software engineer, for example, and as I said, like I work with a lot of software engineers, and it's always been the case that what they learn in university, for example, if they've done a college degree or even like a coding boot camp, a lot of what they're learning it becomes obsolete over time, and it gets replaced with new technology, so that they're already mostly in that mindset of like having to keep up or getting left behind. So I think that's why we've seen like tech teams have been much quicker to like adopt it, try it out, and see where it can help them, and they're a little further along in that journey. I think it's non-technical teams that I worry a little bit more about, who maybe do have that question mark over, oh, will this replace my role? Like I can, ask ChatGPT to write a blog post on something and it will generate it for me. Like, what does that mean for me as a marketer? And I think like we have to be, as HR teams, like we have to be at the forefront of that with our managers and with our leaders to really help them like figure out, like within the roles of the team members that they have, where does the human touch and the innovation piece come in? Because like GPT can do a lot of great things, like as can like many of these AI tools. It can do a lot of great things, but what it can't do is like spark that like innovation that a human has. Like that can't be replicated the same way. And I think it just we'll have more of a focus on how someone can leverage AI as a skill and how resourceful they are, like around other technologies, to actually like design our jobs for going forward. Of course, I could foresee that there are roles that are going to be like more affected than that than others. I was actually at a dinner last night with a couple of HR leaders in Austin, and one of the things that one of the team members mentioned was they had seen that recruitment coordinators were starting to see that there were less roles for them because AI and AI-enabled tech was starting to be able to do scheduling for them. which would have been a big part of a recruiting coordinator's role. So like I do think there is an absolute reality there that we shouldn't ignore and gloss over, that some roles are going to be very, very highly impacted by that. And that's how we should be partnering with our universities and our educational fields to make sure that we have folks who are well enough prepped for the careers that they're going to come out into, and making sure we actually have the right roles and the right skill sets for them whenever they come out into the workforce.
Absolutely. I still remember early on in 2018 when I attended the SHRM Tech conference in India for the APAC.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy on stage, and I forget who he was at this point in time, but he mentioned a role called an AI auditor
Oh,
for
wow.
for HR. And this was in 2018, long before AI caught the public's imagination, and we experimented with all these new tools. So, and I found that fascinating that, when we dug deep into what that role would entail, like write a job description for an AI auditor, there were so many things that we had come up with in the audience during that speaking event and workshop, that we never thought would become a reality so quickly.
Yeah.
And that role now exists in organizations, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very much alive in a real job. That's how
Yeah.
fast all of this is changing for us. So what's one piece of advice you have for HR professionals who are looking to adopt new technology and learn new technology?
Embrace it. Get out there. I feel like one of the best things I did this year and last year was go to the Transform conference, which is, of course, where you and I met. And I think keeping on top of what is coming out in our field is absolutely critical. Like, just because a tool solves for something right now does not mean that it's going to solve, especially in a scaling business like I'm in right now, does not mean that it's going to solve in the future. And I think we have to be open to new technology, open to better bringing things together. And you kind of talked about that, like what I expect to see like over the next few years. I think we'll see more integrations from our tech, so that we don't end up like as a HR team with like this huge tech stack of things that like maybe don't always talk to each other. Like I think we'll see more of a bringing together of that. So my advice to other HR folks is be open. Like, we get, I'm sure, a lot of cold outreach. We go to conferences, we get talking to folks and see what other tools they're using and things like that. Like, embrace it, try it out, do the demo, have the conversation, see what could be better and what could be done better, and hopefully be at the forefront of this rather than trailing behind.
Wonderful advice. So that brings us to the question connection section of our conversation. I think it's the funner section anyway. So who's one person you've gained in your network in the past year in the HR tech space that you think more people should know and learn about and connect with?
Kind of in the HR space, I actually at Transform had the great opportunity to meet with the folks from Bravely. So what Bravely do, and I'll do my best to summarize this in a way that they will be happy with, but they have a manager enablement like program that they do, which was something that I'm personally interested in right now. And one of the things that really excited me whenever I spoke to them was, and so Steph is the person I've been talking to at Bravely, and she was showing me the platform that they're using to actually like do the training with managers that also pairs with the coaching that they provide. So that excited me a ton. And I think just seeing, like, especially from a remote perspective, how we can better have our folks get the same training that we could put them in a classroom to do. They can get that, and even maybe arguably better than if we leverage tech to do it. And the second one that has actually been probably the most impactful to my thought process, even in the past couple of months, selfishly plugging, was actually yourself. I feel like the conversation that we had whenever we sat down at Transform just like opened my eyes to something that I hadn't really considered as an AI use case. And like you probably remember, like my eyes lit up whenever you were talking a little bit about what we could do. And like, since we've talked in the demo, and like, you're so passionate and knowledgeable in the space, that I think like that's exactly what we need, and like what more HR people should be open to having discussions around with people who know what they're talking about, are passionate about it, and are willing to take the time and like and educate us and bring us along on that journey with them. So that would be my top two. Steph from Bravely, definitely a big shout out, who I also met at Transform, and then yourself as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we'll connect Steph in the show notes so the audience can connect with her as well. So what's your favorite HR podcast or HR tech related book that you would recommend?
I have really enjoyed the HR Happy Hour. You can get it on Spotify. They do kind of fairly short bites, the kind of 20 minutes to maybe 40, 50 minutes, I think has been some of the longer ones I've seen, on a wide variety of topics that like either are directly HR related or some that are just like adjacent and like of interest to us to help us keep up. So one of the most recent ones I listened to was on like it was kind of like an intro to crypto, which like for me, like as someone who doesn't work in the crypto space, was interesting to hear, you know, just like some of the challenges that they see from challenges and opportunities that they see like in those types of companies, and like even just like the advent of crypto itself and how it's impacting like our workforce. So definitely a plug for that one. Really enjoy that, and that's said, you can find it on Spotify.
Okay, we'll link that in the show notes as well. What song would you add to our playlist? We are curating an HR playlist for working from anywhere. What's one song that you'd like to add? One or two, whatever number you wish to choose.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with two options on this one, because one is the cheesy option, and then the other one is the realistic if I was actually doing this for myself. My cheesy option is go with, at the minute, for all HR folks and particularly HR leaders out there, is Journey's Don't Stop Believing. Sometimes we just need that extra little push. Like it's all going somewhere. It is all worthwhile, and like don't stop believing that we can get to where we're going, where we want to go. So that's kind of my cheesy suggestion. My less cheesy suggestion, and like what I would put on my own playlist and what is on my own playlist, is a British producer and DJ called Maya Jane Coles. I recommend any song of hers, or you can also find some of her sets like down through the years. That, as a person with ADHD, I find that actually while I'm working, listening to things with lyrics is a real challenge for me, because I just get way too easily distracted and I'll sing along and then I'm gone. So I find like I have to go with things with either very minimal lyrics or no lyrics at all. And she's my favorite. So she's like house and techno. So that's what I would listen to. I find it like good motivational, like relatively fast paced, quite like sometimes like quite moody. It's very cool.
Okay. We'll link that in the playlist, which will be on Spotify shortly. So thank you. Is there a LinkedIn Learning or e-learning webinar series for HR technology and AI that you have recently either learned from or would recommend?
So I am part of an organization called Troop HR, and they actually have a series of webinars and courses and pieces that we've been able to use as members of that group. So Troop HR, for anyone who hasn't heard of it, is a HR organization for professionals in our space to collaborate, share ideas, like learn and upskill each other, and it's all around phenomenal. We're all over the place. You'll find us everywhere, but I found that the webinars and courses they've had in there, particularly on AI and the advent of tech, have been really helpful, because they're right down to the basics of like, what do we actually do? Like there's a lot of folks, I'm sure like you see this in your world too, like there's a lot of folks talking about like, oh, that would be cool, or like that would be nice, but like their courses and videos tend to focus on like, okay, here's what someone else has done, like has actually done, tried and true. Here's the issues that they had, or here's the places where they were able to be successful. So I've definitely found those to be the most useful so far.
Wonderful. And you know, we've discussed this, but do you like working remotely or physically in a specific office location or in a hybrid setting?
So at Temporal, we're fully remote, fully distributed. Majority of us are in the US, but we have a few folks internationally as well. I have absolutely loved being remote. I admittedly, more so since I was able to get my own office in our house. A lot less enjoyable whenever I was bouncing around from room to room during COVID times. But I think like I really like it for the stage of career that I'm in right now. But what I would say, like, especially for folks coming, like maybe either starting out in HR or who have like not really had that office experience so far, I think I'm able to enjoy remote work and really see the benefit and value of it because I already had built relationships with folks in person before, and I've had that experience of like being in the office and in even being hybrid whenever I lived in Philly. And so yes, I absolutely love remote. But it's not for everybody. And I think like there are definitely folks who think that like, oh, like remote sounds great, you know, I can be home all day. And then the reality sets in of like, wow, I'm by myself here unless I can proactively go and like reach out to folks, or unless your company has like a really, really solid like remote culture built up. At Temporal, we're working on that. You know, it's like many companies are. Like we were founded in late of 2019, so like we're a company that was like born remotely. I think like companies who were in person or even hybrid prior to COVID times, forcing everyone to go remote, have seen a lot more challenge there because you know we build relationships in different ways when we're in person. You have to be so much more intentional and deliberate whenever you are remote. And as I said, that has suited me at this stage in my career, and I get like enjoyment out of it, and I feel like I can work it well. And of course, like as a team, we're trying to do more with Temporal to help us be better remotely. But I can definitely see, you know, I've been hybrid before, even like pre-COVID, I'd like spent time in like a hybrid role and really like that. Like that was a lovely mix, especially for that stage of my career and for the role I was doing, and like it suited the company's culture that we had at the time. So I think it's just really down to the individual and like what kind of stage you're at and like what you really value from your day and like how your company actually does remote. Because like some don't do it well at all, some do it phenomenally well. And I think like as Temporal, like we're on a journey with it, like we're getting a lot better at remote enablement. So I can hope that it will only continue to get better with us.
Wonderful. Well, you like to give back to your community, and specifically, how do you like giving back to the HR community?
For me, it all comes down to mentorship. I have had the absolute luxury and privilege of having fantastic managers and mentors during my career so far. And the one thing that every one of them imparted onto me was that our relationship was a great thing that they got a lot from as well as mentors, and that I would get to a point in my own career and ability that being a mentor and actually giving back to someone else who's coming up in our career is something that I absolutely should do. It's like pay it forward was the advice that I got. And I'm glad to say that's how I like to pay it forward is I particularly love to mentor and support folks who are either trying to make a jump over into HR from another career and are trying to get started, or who are trying to grow and progress their career in HR, particularly in like in business partnership and people operations. So that's how I like to give back as well. And I'm still in mentoring relationships myself, like as a mentee. So I feel like I still go through like a learning process. It's like what a great mentor is and does. And I will shout out Ellie on my team here at Temporal, who has just started a mentor program here at Temporal that we're hoping will be able to bring more folks together to and develop like mentorship relationships for the team here, like on a voluntary basis. So I'm very excited about that and the opportunity to take part in that more deeply.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing all your wonderful insights with me and our audience today. If our audience would like to reach out to you to take you up on that mentoring opportunity, what's the best way
Absolutely.
to reach you?
Best way to get in touch with me is definitely my LinkedIn or my email as well. I'll provide that to you so you can put that into the show notes. And absolutely do reach out. I love to have like these conversations, even if it's not as formal as mentorship. I love to learn and get talking to other folks in our space just about the challenges we're seeing, opportunities that are coming up, like all the great stuff. So definitely feel free to reach out and continue the conversation.
Well, wonderful. Thank you again so much, Geri. It's a pleasure to always connect and talk with you. And thank you, audience, for being here. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Bye.
Listen on your favorite podcast channels and watch us on YouTube. Follow us on social. We are on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Join our budding community on LinkedIn and Facebook. Ask, answer, advise.